It begins without sound, no thunder, no flash. Just a pulse invisible, silent, and absolute. High above the atmosphere, an electromagnetic weapon detonates. The burst moves at the speed of light. In less than a second, it sweeps across the continent. Microchips fry, circuit boards melt. Power grids collapse before anyone knows what has happened. You are standing in a parking lot when your phone dies mid-call. The street lights blink out. A car beside you rolls to a stop, engine dead. The driver stares at the dashboard, confused. You look around. Every screen is black. Every signal is gone. The hum of civilization, the background noise you never noticed, vanishes. This is 4:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. In 60 seconds, the world you knew stops existing. An EMP does not destroy buildings. It destroys infrastructure. The invisible networks that hold society together, power, communication, banking, supply chains, all of them fail simultaneously. Money does not disappear. Access to money does. Your bank account still exists somewhere on a server farm now buried in silence, but you cannot reach it. No one can. At a gas station 3 blocks away, a man taps his card against the reader. Nothing happens. He taps again. The screen stays dark. Behind him, a line forms. People hold out phones, cards, smartwatches. None of them work. The cashier shrugs. The manager comes out, looking pale. He does not know what to say. The pumps are dead. The registers are frozen. Cash only, he finally announces. But most people do not carry cash anymore. This is day 1, the day of denial. You walk home because your car will not start. The streets are eerily quiet. A few older vehicles still move, those without computerized ignitions, but most sit abandoned in the road. You pass a grocery store. The doors are open. Inside, the lights flicker on emergency power. A crowd gathers at the checkout. Voices rise. Someone shouts about their card not working. The manager waves his hands, trying to calm the situation. You see people leaving with full carts, unsure whether they have paid or simply taken what they need. You do not stop. You keep walking. By the time you reach your apartment, the sun is setting. You try the light switch. Nothing. You check your phone again, even though you know it is dead. You sit in the dark and wait. Surely you think this will be fixed by morning. Surely someone is working on it. But no one is. Day 2 begins with the realization spreading like a cold wind. This is not a temporary outage. You wake at dawn to the same silence. No hum of refrigerators, no distant traffic, no chirping notifications. You step outside. Your neighbors are gathered on the sidewalk, talking in low voices. Someone mentions an EMP. Another person dismisses it. A conspiracy theory, they say, but no one has a better explanation. You check your wallet. $43 in cash. You have not carried this much in years. It suddenly feels like a fortune. The bank opens at 9. You arrive at 8:30. The line already stretches around the block. People stand with arms crossed, faces tight. The doors do not open. At 9:15, a manager steps outside. He speaks through a megaphone. All systems are down, he says. We cannot access accounts. We cannot process withdrawals. We are waiting for instructions from headquarters. The crowd erupts. Someone throws a bottle. The manager retreats inside. The doors lock. You walk to the ATM on the corner. The screen is blank. You try another. Same result. You try 5 more. All dead. By midday, gas stations become battlegrounds. The few that still operate use hand-crank pumps or run on backup generators. They accept cash only. Lines stretch for miles. People wait for hours. Fights break out. A man pulls a knife over a $10 bill. Police arrive, but their radios do not work. They have no way to call for backup. They leave. Inside a pharmacy, you see a mother pleading with the clerk. Her daughter needs insulin. The clerk shakes his head. The payment system is down. She offers cash. He says the register will not open. She begs. He walks away. You do not see what happens next. By the end of day 2, the grocery stores close. Not because the food is gone, but because transactions cannot be processed. Managers fear looting. Security guards stand at the doors with rifles. Crowds linger outside, uncertain. Some leave. Others wait. You return home with a bag of canned goods bought with the last of your cash. You count what remains, $16. You do not know how long that will last. Day 3 begins with the first rumors of violence. A convenience store on the east side was broken into overnight. No one was hurt, but the shelves are empty. A gas station attendant was beaten for refusing credit. A man was shot over a generator. The details are vague. Information spreads through whispers, not news. There are no broadcasts, no updates, just fragments of stories passed from neighbor to neighbor. You realize you have not seen a police car in over 24 hours. Trust fractures quickly. Neighbors who smiled at each other last week now watch through curtains. You see a group of men walking down the street with baseball bats. They do not look at you. You do not look at them. Barter begins naturally. A man trades a case of bottled water for 2 bags of rice. A woman exchanges prescription painkillers for gasoline. A mechanic fixes a car in return for canned meat. You trade a flashlight for batteries. Money is still useful, but it is no longer king. Resources are. You hear a radio broadcast for the first time since the EMP, a crackly voice on an AM frequency. The message is brief. Stay indoors. Conserve resources. Await further instructions. It repeats 3 times, then cuts out. You do not hear it again. By evening, you see smoke rising from the direction of downtown. You do not know if it is a fire or something worse. No sirens respond. You lock your doors and push a chair against the handle. Day 4 begins with the silence growing heavier. You wake to the sound of footsteps on the street. You look through the window. A convoy of military trucks rolls past. Soldiers sit in the back, rifles resting on their knees. They do not stop. They do not wave. They simply pass through. You realize the government is still functioning. Somewhere, but not here. Hospitals are overwhelmed. You pass one on your way to find water. The emergency room is filled with people sitting on the floor. Doctors work by flashlight. A generator hums in the background, but it is running on fumes. A nurse tells you they have no way to order supplies, no way to contact suppliers, no way to pay even if they could. Medication becomes the new currency. Antibiotics are worth more than gold. Insulin is priceless. People hoard what they have. Those without begin to panic. You meet a man who tells you he used to be a banker. He laughs bitterly. I managed millions, he says. Now I cannot buy bread. His account still exists. His money is still there, locked behind dead servers and frozen networks. But it might as well be on the moon. You understand now. Wealth is not numbers. It is access, and access is gone. By the end of day 4, society has split into 2 groups, those who prepared and those who did not. The prepared are quiet. They do not advertise their supplies. They do not draw attention. The unprepared grow desperate. They knock on doors. They ask for help. Some are turned away. Some are let in. Trust is no longer assumed. It is earned or withheld. You realize you are somewhere in the middle. Day 5 begins with the first signs of organization. A community meeting is held in the parking lot of a school. About 50 people gather. A former city councilman speaks. He proposes rationing, shared security, fair distribution of resources. Some agree, others argue. A shouting match breaks out. The meeting ends with nothing decided, but smaller groups form afterward. Neighbors who trust each other. Families who pool resources. You join 6 households. You agree to share water, food, and security. You take shifts, watching the street at night. Information becomes critical. A man with a ham radio becomes the most important person in the group. He picks up scattered broadcasts, military channels, emergency frequencies. Most of it is static, but occasionally a message comes through. Stay off the highways, avoid major cities, secure your homes. You realize the government is not coming to help, not yet. Maybe not ever. Fuel scarcity turns roads into graveyards. Cars sit abandoned on highways, out of gas and stripped for parts. Those who left the city too late are now trapped between destinations. You see a family walking along the side of the road, pulling suitcases. They do not look at you. They just keep walking. By evening, a neighbor suggests scavenging, abandoned homes, empty stores. It is not looting, he says. It is survival. You do not argue. You do not agree. You simply listen. That night you hear gunshots in the distance, 2 sharp cracks, then silence. You do not sleep. Day 6 begins with the arrival of control. Military vehicles return, but this time they stop. Soldiers step out and set up checkpoints. A loudspeaker announces a curfew, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Anyone outside will be detained. Fuel is being rationed. Food distribution will begin tomorrow. Bring identification. You feel a strange mix of relief and unease. A distribution center is set up at the high school. You arrive early. The line is already long. Soldiers check IDs. They write down names. You are given a box of supplies, canned vegetables, powdered milk, water purification tablets. Enough for 3 days, they say. You do not ask what happens after that. Someone behind you complains. A soldier steps forward. The complaint stops. You notice everything is being recorded. Names, addresses. How many people in your household? They say it is for logistics, for fairness. But you feel something tighten. By afternoon, soldiers visit homes. They are looking for generators, they say, for fuel stockpiles. They need to know what resources exist in the community. Some people comply. Others refuse. You hear about one man who was arrested for resisting. No one knows where he was taken. You realize preparedness is now a liability. That night, your neighbor burns his stockpile list. Just in case, he says. Day 7 begins with the understanding that normal is not returning. The broadcasts change. What was called a temporary disruption is now a stabilization period. Banks issue statements. Your accounts are safe. They say access will be restored soon. But soon is not defined. Days, weeks, months, you stop waiting. Barter networks go underground. Quiet exchanges happen behind closed doors. Cash still circulates, but cautiously. People remember how quickly it became useless. They do not trust it anymore. You learn new skills, how to filter water, how to preserve food, how to fix a generator. Skills become the new wealth. Mechanics, medics, electricians, people who can do things are valued. People who only manage numbers are forgotten. Your group grows. 10 households now. You establish rules. No theft, no violence within the group. Share fairly, protect each other. It works. Barely, but it works. You hear rumors of other communities. Some have collapsed into chaos. Others have thrived. The difference is not resources. It is leadership, trust, cooperation. By the end of day 7, you understand. The EMP did not destroy civilization. It revealed it. It stripped away the illusion of permanence. The belief that systems were unbreakable. The assumption that money was real. Money was never real. It was agreement. And when the systems that enforced that agreement failed, the agreement dissolved. What remains is what always mattered. Food, water, shelter, community, trust, earned face to face, skills that create value, the ability to adapt. You look at your group, your neighbors, strangers a week ago. Now, the only thing standing between you and chaos. You realize you will never see security the same way again? The world after the EMP is not the world that came before. The old normal is gone. The systems that defined it, banking, digital currency, instant communication, are ghosts. Some will return, but trust in them will not. People have learned a lesson they cannot unlearn. Convenience is fragile. Security is an illusion. Survival depends not on wealth, but on preparedness. Not on institutions, but on people. The EMP did not end civilization. It forced it to rebuild from the ground up. And those who survive are the ones who remember what truly matters. Because once you have lived 7 days without money, without banks, without a team, as once you have stared into the void where convenience used to be, you never forget how thin the line is between order and collapse. And that awareness, quiet and permanent, is the real aftershock.